The silence was so total, I thought for a second I'd gone deaf. It was just nothing. Not a cough, not a chair scraping, not a whisper. 500 people, and the only sound in the entire auditorium was the faint hum of the old stage lights. My heart was pounding, so hard I was sure they could hear it, but they just stared. I looked past the lights, to the front row, and I found her. Kaimani Martin. Her face was pale. Her mouth was half open. The smile she'd been wearing all night, the one that dripped with mockery, was gone. This wasn't part of her plan. This silence, this was real. It's a strange thing, isn't it? What people think they see. They look at you, they put you in a box, and they close the lid. They decide who you are before you've ever said a word. And when you're the girl with the bad leg, the box they put you in is very, very small. How are you all doing today? I really hope you're somewhere comfortable, maybe with a cup of tea, or just settling in for the night. Where are you watching from? Is the weather treating you kindly? I hope so. I hope you're feeling good. Because this story, this one is about what happens when the person they try to bury proves them all wrong. My name is Tanya Hilton. This is the story of how I went from being limping Tanya, the girl people only saw from the knee down, the punchline to a joke that wasn't even funny, to the person standing on that auditorium stage, watching the girl who put me there as a joke realize her entire world had just fallen apart. It's a long story. It's a hard story. But I promise you, if you stick with me, by the end you'll feel it. You'll feel that silence right along with me. And if you're ready for this journey, and I really hope you are, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It means more than you know. Your support helps me share stories like this. But to understand that silence, you have to understand the noise that came before it. The laughter, the whispers, the insults that were loud enough for me to hear but quiet enough for the teachers to ignore. Let me start from the beginning. My world, back then, was small. It was the walk from my house to the bus stop. It was the sound of my own right foot hitting the pavement, always a second after the left. Thud tap, thud tap. It was the feeling of the muscles in my right leg pulling tight. I was 16 years old, living in a part of Kingston where everyone knew everyone, and everyone knew my story. I'd had the leg since I was 5, a fever that had burned too hot for too long, the doctors told my mother. It had damaged the nerves, stunted the growth. It left my right leg weaker, shorter. It left me with the limp. And in high school, a limp isn't just a limp. It's a target. It's a label. It's cripple. It's peg leg. It's the reason people looked away, or worse, stared. I wasn't naive. I knew what people said. I knew that when I walked into a room, the first thing anyone saw was the way I moved. I believed, though I had to believe, that people, deep down, were better than that. I believed that if you were good at something, truly, genuinely good, it wouldn't matter what you looked like. It wouldn't matter how you walked. And I had something else. Something no one saw, because I never let them. I had my voice. In my room, with the door closed, I wasn't limping Tanya. I was just me. I could sing. I mean, really sing. The music would come on, and my leg wouldn't matter. The ache would disappear. I'd close my eyes and I could be anyone. I could be everything they said I wasn't. My mother, she was a housekeeper, worked long, hard hours. She'd come home exhausted, sit on the steps outside my room, and just listen. "You sound like an angel, baby," she'd whisper through the door, her voice thick with tiredness. One day, the whole world gonna hear that voice. I held on to that. It was my one secret, my one hope. Then there was Kaimani Martin. If I was invisible, Kaimani was the sun. Everyone orbited her. She had the perfect uniform, the perfect hair, the money for all the right things, and the most cutting, perfect smile. She was the one who led the morning assembly. She was the one who always got the solo in the choir. She could sing, too. Or at least, she could perform. She knew how to move, how to hold the microphone, how to make the boys look at her. Her voice was thin, breathy, but it didn't matter. She was Kaimani Martin. Kaimani was never mean to me. Not directly. She wouldn't call me names. She wouldn't trip me in the hall like some of the boys. She'd just smile. That polite, empty smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Morning, Tanya," she'd say, her voice bright and false. And her friends, trailing behind her, would giggle. That kindness was worse than the laughter. It felt hollow. It felt like it was for show. A month before the end of term assembly, the poster went up on the main notice board. Annual School Talent Showcase. Sign up here. My stomach twisted. I wanted it. I wanted it so badly it hurt. Just once, I wanted to stand on that stage and be heard. Not seen. Just heard. I imagined walking up there, the whispers starting, and then opening my mouth. I imagined the silence. A good silence. But I'd never do it. I couldn't. The walk from the wings to the microphone alone, it would take me twice as long as anyone else. Thud tap. Thud tap. Across the whole stage. The laughter would start before I even reached the mic. I pushed the thought down. It was a stupid dream. A few days later, I was by my locker trying to get a heavy textbook into my bag. I was leaning against the metal, balancing, and it was a struggle. Having trouble, Tanya? I froze. It was Kaimani. She was standing right there. Her friends, Lisa and Michelle, standing just behind her, trying to look bored. I'm fine, I mumbled, not looking at her. Here, she said, and before I could stop her, she plucked the book from my hand and slipped it easily into my bag. You really should get a lighter bag. Thanks, I whispered, my face burning. I just wanted her to leave. You know, she said, leaning against the locker next to mine, trapping me. I heard you the other day, in the music room after school. I was walking by. My blood ran cold. I thought I was alone. I'd been singing, really singing. You have a surprisingly beautiful voice, Kaimani said. I finally looked at her. Her face was open, smiling. It looked genuine. Was it? Oh, I said. I thank you. No, really, she said. It's a shame you hide it. She tapped the showcase poster that was taped to the wall, just down the hall. You should sign up. I must have looked at her like she was crazy. I think I laughed. A short, nervous sound. Me? No. I can't. Why not? She asked. Her friends were watching me now. I could feel their eyes. I can't. People would what? Kaimani pushed. People would listen. Tanya, a voice like that, it deserves to be heard. She was being nice. Kaimani Martin was being nice to me. She was complimenting me. I felt a warmth spread through my chest. A stupid, desperate hope. Maybe I was wrong about her. Maybe she was kind. Maybe she saw me. I don't know, I said, my voice barely a squeak. Listen, she said, leaning in closer, like we were sharing a secret. We need a big opener for the show. Something to really get everyone quiet, you know? Something soulful. I was going to do it, but my song is more of a big finish. She looked me right in the eye. I think everyone would love to hear you sing. We need someone for that opening spot. I can even tell Mr. Jose, the music teacher, to save it for you. Her friends were trying not to smile. I saw it, but I didn't see it. I didn't understand it. All I saw was the open door. The chance. My mother's voice in my head. You sound like an angel, baby. Really? I asked. You think I should? Kaimani's smile widened. It was the brightest I'd ever seen it. I don't just think you should, Tanya, she said, tapping my arm. I insist. I didn't even feel the walk home. Usually, that walk was a calculation. Pavement cracks to avoid. The loose gravel near Mrs. Boyd's gate. How long it would take. Every step, a conscious effort. But that afternoon, after Kaimani said I insist, I floated. Thud tap! Thud tap! The sound was still there, but it felt distant. Lighter. She had seen me. She had heard me. Kaimani Martin, the girl everyone listened to, had listened to me. And she thought I was good. She thought I deserved to be on that stage. When I got home, my mother was in the kitchen, her work uniform still on, cutting up vegetables for dinner. She looked exhausted. The lines around her eyes seemed deeper than usual. You're late, Tanya, she said, not looking up. Bus held you up? No, Mama, I said. I was vibrating. I couldn't stand still. I was talking to someone. She finally looked up, wiping her hands on her apron. She saw my face. Her own expression softened. What is it? You look like you just won something. Mama, I said, the words spilling out. I'm going to sing. At the end of term showcase. I'm I'm opening the show. Her hands dropped. The knife sat on the cutting board. What? Tanya, you signed up. I didn't have to, I said, my voice climbing. Kaimini Markman, you know, the girl I told you about? She heard me singing in the music room. And she said I was good, Mama. She said I had a beautiful voice. She arranged it with Mr. Jose. She wants me to open the show. My mother, Grace, just stared at me. Her eyes searched my face. She knew my history. She knew the whispers I pretended not to hear. She knew the days I came home quiet, my eyes red, and refused to talk about it. Kaimini Markman, she repeated, her voice flat. She knew that name. She knew who Kaimini's parents were. She cleaned houses in that neighborhood. She was nice, Mama. She was really nice. She said my voice deserved to be heard. A slow smile spread across my mother's face, erasing the tired lines. It was like the sun coming up. She rushed forward and pulled me into a hug, so tight I could barely breathe. She smelled like bleach and onions. I told you, she whispered into my hair, her voice thick. I told you, my baby. Your voice. It was always going to be your voice. They're going to hear you, Tanya. They're all going to hear you. That night, I didn't just sing in my room. I practiced. My mother sat on my bed, not on the steps outside, and she watched me. She clapped. She cried a little. And for the first time in my life, I felt like the girl with the voice, and not just the girl with the leg. The next day at school was different. I walked into the main hall, and I saw Kaimini by her locker, surrounded by her friends. I felt a pang of my old fear. But then she saw me. She smiled, a big, bright smile, and waved me over. Tanya! There she is. Our star. Her friends, Lisa and Michelle, giggled. I thought it was a friendly giggle. I smiled back, shyly. So, Kaimini said, falling into step beside me, ignoring her friends for a moment. We need to pick your song. The opener has to be perfect. It has to be something that makes everyone stop talking. Something powerful. I usually just sing whatever's on the radio, I admitted. No, she said, shaking her head, suddenly all business. This needs to be classic. Something that shows range. What about I Will Always Love You? I stopped. The Whitney Houston one? No, the original. The Dolly Parton one, she said. But son, like you mean it. That quiet part at the beginning. Just your voice. And then that big note. Can you do that? Can you hit that big note? I think so, I whispered. It was one of my mother's favorite songs. Perfect, Kaimini said. It's settled. Mr. Jose already has you down. He's thrilled. And she was right. Later, in music class, Mr. Jose, a flustered man who was always trying to manage 30 kids and a broken keyboard, waved me over. Tanya! Wonderful news. Kaimini tells me you'll be opening for us. What a lovely surprise. We'll get you a rehearsal slot next week. He seemed genuinely pleased. It was all happening. It was real. Kaimini didn't just leave it at that. Over the next week, she was my champion. My friend. She'd save me a seat at lunch. She'd ask me how practice was going. Her friends were always there, smiling, watching. You're going to be amazing, Tanya, Lisa would say. We can't wait, Michelle would add. I was so desperate for their kindness, I soaked it all up. I ignored the little whispers between them when they thought I wasn't looking. I ignored the way they sometimes looked at each other and smiled. I was finally one of them. I was being included. One afternoon, just a few days before the show, Kaimini found me. We need to practice. On the real stage. Get you used to the space. The stage. My stomach did a flip. Don't worry, she said. It's just us. I told Mr. Jose we were checking the mics. Come on. She, Lisa, and Michelle led me to the auditorium. It was empty and dark, and it seemed huge. My footsteps echoed. Thud tap. Thud tap. The sound was so loud in the silence. Okay, Kaimini said, hopping onto the stage. Your turn. I stood at the bottom of the little steps. It looked like a mountain. Just come on, she said, a little impatiently. I took a breath. I put my left foot up, then grabbed the railing and pulled my right leg up. I did it again, and again. I could feel their eyes on my back. When I got to the top, I was breathing hard, more from nerves than exertion. See? Easy, Kaimani said. Now walk to the mic. The microphone was in the center of the stage. It looked a mile away. I took a step. Thud tap. Another. Thud tap. I was so conscious of it. I felt hot, exposed. Stop thinking about it, Kaimani called out. Just walk normal. I froze. This is my normal, I wanted to scream. But I just nodded. I finally reached the mic. Okay, Kaimani said, sitting on the edge of the stage, her friends sitting on either side of her like a panel of judges. Sing. Now. Yes, now. We need to hear you. I looked out at the 500 empty seats. I clutched the microphone stand. I closed my eyes. I took a breath, and I sang. I sang the first verse. If I should stay. My voice was shaky at first, thin. But as I held the note, it steadied. I felt it. The acoustics in the big room picked it up. I opened my eyes. Kaimani and her friends were just watching me. I kept going. I got to the chorus. I sang it softly, full of the ache the song was meant to have. I was singing to my mom. I was singing to every person who had ever laughed at me. I was singing to the girl I used to be. When I finished, there was silence. Then Kaimani started to clap. Slowly. Wow, Tanya, she said. Just wow. Lisa and Michelle were clapping too. And Lisa was holding her phone. Pointed right at me. Oh, I said, my hand flying to my chest. You were recording me? Of course. Lisa said, her smile wide. You needed to see how good you were. We'll send it to you. You can watch it back. Work on your stage presence. My presence? You just look a little stiff, Kaimani said, standing up. But the voice is amazing. Seriously. We'll send it to you tonight. Just watch it. It'll help. I felt a rush of gratitude, so strong it made me dizzy. They were helping me. They were recording me to help me. Thank you, I said, my voice thick. Kaimani, thank you. For all of this. Don't mention it, she said, waving her hand. That's what friends are for, right? Now come on, let's get out of here. That night, I waited for the video. I sat on my bed, my phone in my hand, practically vibrating with excitement. I was going to see myself. On the stage. I was going to see what they saw. My phone buzzed. But it wasn't a video. It was a message. From a boy in my chemistry class, Leon. A quiet guy who mostly kept to himself. I barely knew him. My brow furrowed. I opened it. Leon, Tanya, you need to see this. It's from Kaimani's private story. I'm really sorry. Attached was a screenshot. Not of a video, but of a group chat. The name at the top was Showcase Stars Glowing Star. There were about 20 people in it. Kaimani's entire circle. I scrolled down, my heart starting to pound in a new, cold way. Michelle. I can't believe she's actually doing it. She's so stupid. Lisa. The video is priceless. The walk. Rolling on a floor laughing, rolling on a floor laughing. Some guy named Andre, what walk? Lisa. To the mic OMG. Elephant turtle. My stomach dropped. An elephant and a turtle emoji. I kept reading. My hands were shaking. Michelle. Kaimani, you are a genius for putting her first. Kaimani, I told you. It's the perfect opener. Everyone will be settled in. The teachers will be there. No one can leave. It's the perfect trap. Lisa, but what if she just sings? You said she was good. I held my breath. I read Kaimani's reply. Kaimani, who cares if she can sing? Did you see her? Standing there, all serious, clutching the mic like it's a life raft. All anyone is going to see is her. The way she walked onto that stage. Thud tap, thud tap. I almost died laughing. Kaimani, I even picked that stupid, sad song for her. She's going to stand there, trying to be all emotional, and the whole time everyone is just going to be watching her leg. It's pathetic. Kaimani, I give it 30 seconds before the whole place is howling. The joke of the year. Can't wait. I read the words again. And again. The perfect trap. Thud tap. Pathetic. The joke of the year. The warmth I had been feeling for a week didn't just fade. It was ripped out of me. It left a cold, black, empty hole. The phone slipped from my hand and hit the blanket, but I didn't feel it. She had never heard my voice. Not really. She had only heard my leg. It was all a lie. The smile. The friendship. The song. That's what friends are for, right? It was a joke. I was the joke. And in 3 days, I was scheduled to walk out in front of 500 people, and they were all, every single one of them, waiting to laugh. I couldn't move. I just sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the wall, at the floral print wallpaper that had been there since I was a baby. It was peeling in the corner. I couldn't stop looking at it. The phone screen had gone dark. The room was silent. I couldn't cry. It was too cold for that. It felt like someone had opened a window in the middle of winter, right inside my chest. Pathetic. The joke of the year. Thud, tap, thud, tap. She had mimicked the sound of my walk. She had written it down. She had shared it with 20 people. They were all in on it. All those smiles. All those "you're going to be amazing" comments. They were just waiting. Waiting for the elephant and the turtle to walk onto the stage. I heard my mother's footsteps in the hall. "Tanya," she called out, her voice still light, still full of that new hope. "You're quiet in there. Did they send you the video? Let me see my star." She pushed open the door, a bright smile on her face. It died instantly when she saw me. "Tanya, baby, what is it? You're white as a sheet." I couldn't speak. My throat was closed. I felt sick. I just held up the phone. My hand was shaking so badly I almost dropped it. She took it from me, her brow furrowed in confusion. "What is this?" "A message from Leon." She unlocked it. She read the first message. Then she started scrolling. I watched her face. It was the worst part. I watched the joy drain away. I watched the confusion set in. I watched her eyes move faster and faster over the words. I watched her lips part. I saw her hand, the one not holding the phone, clench into a fist at her side, her knuckles white. "Kaimani wrote this," she whispered. It wasn't a question. I just nodded. A single, stiff nod. She read it again. I could see her tracing the lines. Thud tap. I saw her flinch, as if she'd been struck. The perfect trap. She looked up from the phone, and the exhaustion was back, but it wasn't just tiredness anymore. It was something else. It was a cold, hard anger I had never, ever seen in my mother. She looked dangerous. "They did this," she said. Her voice was low. That little girl. She planned this. And then, finally I broke. The cold shattered, and a hot, terrible sob ripped out of my chest. It was so loud it scared me. The tears just exploded. I couldn't breathe. "Mama, they were lying," I choked out. "The whole time. They're waiting for me. They're waiting to laugh at me. They all are." "Shoo, shhh, baby," she said, pulling me against her. But she wasn't soft. She was stiff with rage. She held me tight, rocking me, but her eyes were staring at that peeling wallpaper, and her jaw was set. "You're not going," she said. It was final. "You are not setting one foot in that school. I'll call them in the morning. I'll tell them you're sick. You have a fever. We'll go to the doctor, get a note. You will not go." I can't." I cried into her shoulder. "I can't go." "You won't," she said, her voice like iron. "They want a joke? They can laugh at an empty stage. Let her explain to Mr. Jose why her star opener isn't there. I'm not feeding my child to those wolves. Not ever." I held on to her, and for a few minutes, that was the plan. I would just disappear. I'd be sick. I'd hide in my room until the showcase was over, until the school term ended. It was the only way. It was the only sane thing to do. We sat there in the silence for a long time, just the sound of me trying to get my breathing under control. I felt empty. The one thing I thought was mine, my voice, they had found a way to take it and turn it into a weapon against me. They were going to use my one secret strength to highlight my most visible weakness. It was a perfect trap. She was right about that. I thought about all the moments. Kaimani's genuine smile. Lisa holding the phone. Work on your stage presence. They weren't just mean. They were cruel. In a way I didn't even know how to understand. "What song did she pick?" my mother asked, her voice still hard. I will always love you," I whispered. My mother pulled back to look at me. Her eyes were hard. "That one? Our song?" I nodded, fresh tears welling up. She said it was classic. She said it would show range. She chose it to break your heart," Mama whispered, and she was right. She picked a song I loved, a song that meant something to me. It just made the joke that much deeper. I picked up my phone again, my hand still trembling. I looked at the message from Leon. I'm really sorry. He was in that group. But he sent it to me. He wasn't one of them. That was something. A tiny pinpoint of light in the black. Mama, I said, my voice hoarse from crying. What if I don't go? You're not going, Tanya. That's final. But what will they say then? Kaimani will she'll tell everyone I got scared. She'll tell them I knew I was a joke. They'll still laugh, won't they? They'll laugh at me for being a coward. They'll laugh at the empty stage. They still win. My mother was silent. She knew I was right. In that school, in that world, there was no mercy. Hiding was just another punchline. So what? She said, her voice tight. Let them laugh. At least you won't be there to hear it. I looked down at my hands. At my right leg, the one that was always there. The one that had defined me my whole life. She wrote it down, Mama, I whispered. Thud tap. She heard it, and she wrote it down, and she laughed. I felt something new. Something cold and heavy, settling in the pit of my stomach. It wasn't sadness anymore. It wasn't fear. It was the same thing I'd heard in my mother's voice. It was rage. A quiet, slow-burning rage. She had wanted to see me walk. She had wanted to hear me sing a sad song. She had wanted to trap me on that stage so everyone could see limping Tanya make a fool of herself. She was going to get exactly what she wanted. Tanya, my mother said, watching my face. What are you thinking? I looked up at her. The tears were gone. My eyes felt dry. I'm going to go, I said. What? No. Tanya, don't be a fool. You can't. It'll destroy you. No, I said, and my voice was stronger. Clearer. If I hide, it will destroy me. If I let her do this, if I let her turn me into a coward, then I'm everything she says I am. Pathetic. Baby, you are not pathetic. Then I can't let her win. I stood up. My leg ached. I can't. She thinks she can break me. She thinks my leg is the only thing people will see. She thinks my voice is just background noise for her joke. I walked over to my little mirror. I looked at myself, at the red, puffy eyes, at the girl who had been so stupid, so desperate for a little kindness that she'd walked right into the trap. They want a show, Mama, I said to my reflection. My mother stood behind me, her hands on my shoulders. Her face was terrified. What are you saying, Tanya? I'm going to sing, I said. My voice didn't waver. The showcase is in 2 days. I'm going to walk out on that stage. Thud tap, just like she wrote. And I'm going to stand at that microphone. And I'm going to open the show. Tanya, they will laugh at you. They will break you, baby. I met her eyes in the mirror. No, Mama, I said. They won't. They're expecting me to be broken. They're expecting me to be pathetic. They're expecting me to cry and run off the stage. A new plan was forming. A terrifying, wild plan. It wasn't about just surviving the humiliation. It was about something else. I'm going to sing the song she picked, I said. But I'm not going to sing it for them. And I'm not going to sing it for her. I was trapped. There was no way out. The only path was through. I had to walk into the fire, but I didn't have to let it burn me. This was the catastrophe. The point of no return. I was going to walk onto that stage, into a room full of people who had been told to laugh at me. I was going to do it. It was the only choice I had left. The next 2 days were a new kind of hell. It was a clear, bright, waking nightmare. I woke up the next morning, the day before the showcase, and for one tiny, beautiful second, I had forgotten. And then, the weight of it crashed down on me. The perfect trap. I felt sick. You're not going, my mother said from the doorway. She hadn't slept. Her eyes were red-rimmed, but her voice was firm. She was holding a cup of tea. I mean it, Tanya. I'm calling the school. You're sick. No, Mama, I said, and my voice sounded strange to my own ears. It was hoarse. If I'm sick, she wins. She'll tell everyone I chickened out. It'll just be a different joke. So let it be, as long as you're not there to hear it. I have to go. I sat up. My leg ached, a deep, throbbing pulse. I have to. I didn't know how I was going to do it. The rage from last night had burned down into a cold, hard knot of fear in my stomach. But the decision was still there. It was the only thing I had. Walking into school that day was the hardest thing I'd ever done. Every single person I passed. I wondered, are you in on it? Did you see the group chat? Are you waiting to laugh? The air felt thick. The usual hallway noise sounded different, like the volume had been turned down, and all I could hear was the thud, tap, thud, tap of my own 2 feet on the linoleum. It felt impossibly loud, like a drum announcing my arrival. Announcing the joke. I saw Kaimani at her locker. She was laughing with Lisa. My body went rigid. I tried to turn, to walk the other way, but she saw me. Her face lit up. That brilliant, fake, 1,000-watt smile. Tanya, there you are. I was so worried about you. She bounced over, her friends trailing behind her, their eyes glittering. I could see it now. It wasn't kindness. It was anticipation. They were looking at me like I was a box on Christmas morning, and they couldn't wait to see what was inside. I was just tired. I stammered, my bag feeling like it was full of rocks. Oh, you poor thing, she said, putting her hand on my arm. I had to fight every instinct to rip my arm away. You're probably just getting stage fright, aren't you? Don't worry. I am so excited for you. You're going to be unforgettable. There it was. That word. The double meaning hit me like a slap. I hope so, I mumbled. Just remember what we practiced, she said, leaning in, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Walk out there with your head held high. And when you get to that mic, just sing your heart out. Just do your best. That's all anyone can ask for, right? The condescension, the absolute brazenness of her lie, it was suffocating. She was standing right in front of me, telling me to be brave, all while sharpening the knife she was going to put in my back. Lisa and Michelle were giggling behind her. We really can't wait for the opening, Tanya, Lisa said, her eyes wide and innocent. It's all anyone's talking about. My blood ran cold. They are. Well, we are, Kaimani corrected, shooting Lisa a look. We've been telling everyone that you're our secret weapon. Our surprise opener. A surprise. That's what I was. Not a person. A surprise. All day, the pressure built. It was in the air. I felt watched. People who had never looked at me twice would glance at me in the hallway and then quickly look away, whispering to their friends. Kaimani's circle was big. The group chat had 20 people. How many people had they told? How many people were waiting for the turtle and the elephant? The one person who didn't look at me that way was Leon. I saw him in the cafeteria. Our eyes met across the room. He wasn't smiling. He just looked sad and guilty. He gave me a tiny, almost imperceptible nod, and then looked down at his tray. He was the one person who had tried to warn me. But he was trapped, too. Scared of Kaimani, just like everyone else. His silence was just another layer of my isolation. That afternoon was the final, mandatory dress rehearsal. Mr. Jose wanted everyone to run their bit, just once, to check lighting and sound. Tanya, my dear, you're up first, he called out, shuffling his papers. Just walk to the mark, sing the first verse, so we can get your levels, and then you can go. I stood in the wings. The auditorium was mostly empty. Just Mr. Jose, a couple of tech kids in the back, and Kaimani. She was sitting in the front row, her legs crossed, watching me. You've got this, Tanya, she called out, her voice echoing in the huge empty room. I looked at the steps. I looked at the microphone. It was a million miles away. I took the first step up, my hand on the rail, pulling my right leg up. I took the second. I was on the stage. I started to walk. Thud tap. It was so loud. Louder than it had ever been. Thud tap. I could feel her eyes on me. I could hear the words from the screenshot in my head. The walk. Rolling on a floor laughing elephant turtle. Thud tap. My face was on fire. I felt like I was wading through wet cement. Each step was a humiliation. Thud tap. I finally reached the microphone. My hands were shaking so hard, I could barely hold on. I looked out. Kaimani was smiling. That polite, empty smile. Any time, dear, Mr. Jose called out. I opened my mouth. I took a breath. Nothing. No sound came out. Just air. It's okay, Tanya, Mr. Jose said, his voice kind. Nerves. Just breathe. Start when you're ready. I tried again. My voice cracked. It was thin and weak and pitiful. It was the voice of the girl they were all expecting. A pathetic, scared little voice. I heard a sound from the audience. A single, sharp snort. It was quickly covered by a cough. It was Lisa, sitting a few rows behind Kaimani. That was it. I couldn't do it. The rage was gone. The cold resolve was gone. All that was left was the 16-year-old girl who was in way over her head. The terror was so complete, so total, that it just broke me. I let go of the mic. I turned, and I did something I had never done in my life. I ran. As fast as I could. Thud, tap, thud, tap, thud, tap. It was clumsy, and it was ugly, and I didn't care. I scrambled down the steps, almost falling, and I just ran. I ran out of the auditorium, down the hall, and into the nearest girl's bathroom. I slammed myself into a stall, locked the door, and just fell apart. I slid down the wall and sat on the dirty floor, my head in my hands, and I sobbed. Gut-wrenching. Silent sobs that tore my throat apart. I couldn't do it. I was a fool. I was a coward. I was everything they said I was. I couldn't walk out there. I couldn't let them see me. My mother was right. I had to hide. I would never go back. I would fail the term. I didn't care. I would not, walk onto that stage tomorrow. The night of the showcase. 6 p.m. The show started at 7 o'clock. I was in my room. On my bed. In my oldest, most worn-out pajamas. I hadn't moved in hours. My mother came in. She didn't say anything. She just sat on the bed and put her hand on my back. She had my good dress with her, the simple blue one she bought me for church. She had ironed it. She hung it on the back of my door. You don't have to go, baby, she said, her voice soft. All the anger was gone from her, too. Now she was just sad. You don't have to prove anything to those monsters. We'll just stay in. I'll make popcorn. We'll watch a movie. I felt a wave of relief, so strong it made me weak. Okay, Mama, I whispered. I'm sorry. I'm a coward. You are not a coward, she said, and her voice was fierce again. You are a 16-year-old girl, and the world is full of ugly people. It is not your job to fix them, and it is not your job to be their entertainment. She sat with me. We listened to the clock tick. 6:15 p.m. 6:30 p.m. I was safe. I was hiding. Kaimani would win. She'd get on that stage, and she'd make some joke about how her, surprise, opener got sick. And everyone would know. And they'd laugh. And she would sing her song, and everyone would clap, and she would be the star. And I would be the girl who couldn't even show her face. I thought about Kaimani, standing on that stage, soaking up the applause. Her, and her perfect life, and her perfect friends. Built on what? On me. On my leg. On my humiliation. She's going to sing her big finale, isn't she? I said, my voice muffled by the pillow. Yes, baby. She is. And everyone will love her. Probably, Mama said, her voice tight. She gets to do all of that. To me. And she still gets to be the star. My mother didn't answer. She just rubbed my back. I pictured Kaimani's face. Her smile when she said, unforgettable. Her friends snored in the auditorium. The elephant and the turtle. The trap. And suddenly I understood something. Kaimani wasn't just trapping me. She was trapping herself. She was relying on me to be what she thought I was. She was relying on me to be weak. She was relying on me to crack or to run away. Her entire joke, her entire moment of triumph, depended on my failure. What if I didn't fail? What if I didn't crack? The plan, her perfect trap, had one massive gaping flaw. It all depended on me. I sat up. My hair was a mess. My eyes were swollen shut. Mama, I said, and my voice was different. It wasn't rage. It wasn't fear. It was cold. It was ice. What is it, Tanya? She's expecting a mouse to walk into her trap, I said, standing up. She's not expecting a lion. My mother's eyes went wide. Tanya, what? She didn't just set a trap for me, Mama. She set one for herself. She's told everyone to watch the crippled girl. She's put a giant spotlight on me. She's made me the center of attention. She's done all the work for me. I walked over to the door. I touched the blue dress. She's expecting me to sing a sad song and cry, I said. She's expecting me to be pathetic. I turned to my mother. A new, terrifying idea was taking shape. An idea that made my heart pound, not with fear but with something else. Something powerful. What song is she singing, Mama? For her big finale? I don't know, baby. Some pop song. The one that's always on the radio. Why? Because, I said, taking the dress off the hanger. She's not going to get to sing it. My mother stared at me. Her face was a mask of confusion and fear. Tanya, what are you talking about? She's not going to get to sing it. Baby, what's in your head? You're not going to do something crazy, are you? Is it crazy, Mama? I asked, and my voice was shaking, but not with tears. It was vibrating with this new, cold energy. Is it crazy to not let someone destroy you? Is it crazy to not want to be a joke? It was 6:31 p.m. The clock on my wall was ticking. Each tick was a second closer to the show starting. A second closer to my humiliation, whether I was there or not. I had a choice. It was impossible. Stay here, in my room, in my pajamas. Safe. And broken. Let Kaimani win. Let her tell the story of limping Tanya, who got scared and ran away. Live with that forever. Or go. Walk into the trap. Walk into the laughter. And use the very spotlight she had built to burn her to the ground. You're scaring me, Tanya, my mother whispered. I'm scaring me, I said, my voice raw. But Mama, I'm more scared of her. I'm more scared of what happens if I do nothing. I'm more scared of being this person, this pathetic person she thinks I am, for the rest of my life. I grabbed the blue dress. I tore my pajamas off. I pulled the dress over my head, my hands shaking so much I could barely find the armholes. Mama, I said, fumbling with the zipper in the back. I need your help. My mother just stared for a beat. Then, something in her eyes changed. The fear, it didn't go away, but it hardened. It turned into the same iron I'd seen the night before. She saw it. She saw I wasn't the scared little girl from the dress rehearsal. I wasn't the broken child from the bathroom stall. I was something new. She didn't speak. She just walked over and, with steady hands, pulled the zipper up my back. Your hair, she said, her voice all business. Sit. I sat at my little vanity. She grabbed a brush. She started pulling it through my tangled hair, her movements fast and rough, but sure. What is this plan, Tanya? What are you going to do? She wants me to open the show, I said, wincing as she hit a knot. She wants me to sing that song. She's expecting me to break down. She's told everyone to watch me, to watch my walk. Thud tap. She's made me the main event. So you're just going to sing? I'm going to sing, Mama, I said, looking at our reflections. Oh, I'm going to sing. But I'm not singing her song. What? But, Mr. Jose, the music. Kaimani's finale, I said, the plan coming clear, sharp and painful in my mind. What is it? The one on the radio. The big, loud one. Unstoppable. Is that it? Yes, Mama said, her hands freezing. The one by, yes. Unstoppable, that's the one I'm singing, I said. Tanya, you can't. You don't know the music. The band doesn't know. It doesn't matter. I cut her off. It's the showcase. They use backing tracks. Kaimani will have her track there. On a USB. Or a CD. They'll have it. And how are you going to get that? I'll find it, I said. Or, I'll make them give it to me. I stood up. I looked at myself. The blue dress. The brushed hair. The swollen eyes that now looked bright. She's not just the star, Mama. She's in charge. She's been helping Mr. Jose organize everything. She'll be backstage. This is crazy, my mother breathed. This is going to be a disaster. It's already a disaster, I said. This is the only way out. She wants to see me walk? She's going to see me walk. She wants to hear me sing? She's going to hear me sing. But I'm singing her song. I'm taking her finale. I'm taking her moment. Let's see how she likes having her show taken away from her. My mother looked at me for a long, hard second. Where are your good shoes? She asked. It was 6:42 p.m. We ran out of the house. I'd never seen my mother drive like that. The little car, which usually sputtered and complained, felt like it was flying. I sat in the passenger seat, my hands clenched into fists in my lap. I was so scared my teeth were chattering. "Breathe, Tanya," Mama said, not taking her eyes off the road. "Don't think. Just breathe." "I can't," I whispered. "I feel sick." "Mama, what if they don't let me? What if I'm too late? What if I get there and they just laugh?" "If they laugh," she said, her voice like gravel, "you sing louder. You hear me? You look them right in the eye and you sing louder." We pulled into the school parking lot at 6:54 p.m. The lot was full. We could hear the buzz of the crowd from here. The lights in the auditorium were on. My stomach felt like it was full of angry hornets. I can't walk," I whispered. "My leg. It felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I couldn't get out of the car." My mother turned and grabbed my face, her hands rough. "Yes, you can. You've been walking your whole life. You think you're going to let her stop you now? You think you're going to let that child take your legs out from under you? You walk from this car to that door. You walk onto that stage. And you be the angel I know you are. But you be a furious angel, Tanya. You hear me?" Her words, "furious angel," hit me. A strange, wild laugh bubbled up in my throat. It was half a sob. "Okay, Mama. Okay. I'm parking," she said. "I'll be in the audience. In the back. I'll be watching. They won't let me in. The audience, I mean. The show's starting. They will let me in," she said, and her face was so set, so determined, I believed her. "Now go." I got out of the car. The evening air was cool. I could hear the muffled sound of Mr. Jose's voice from the auditorium, welcoming everyone. The show was starting. Now. I walked toward the backstage door. Thud tap. Thud tap. The sound wasn't loud tonight. It wasn't a drum. It was a heartbeat. My heartbeat. Thud tap. "I'm coming." Thud tap. "You wanted me." Thud tap. "You got me." I pulled open the heavy metal door. The chaos backstage hit me like a wall of heat. Kids in costumes, teachers with clipboards, the smell of hairspray and panic. Mr. Jose saw me first. His face, which had been frantic, went pale. "Tanya. My goodness. Child, you're here. We thought you were sick. Kaimani said you had a fever. She was just... Kaimani." He was already turning. And there she was. Kaimani was standing by the tech table, talking to the sound guy. She was wearing a glittering silver dress. Her finale dress. She turned when she heard Mr. Jose. She saw me. Her face, it was perfect. The smile she had been wearing froze. Her eyes went wide. The color drained from her cheeks. She wasn't looking at a joke. She wasn't looking at a victim. She was looking at a ghost. "Tanya," she breathed. Her voice was a tiny squeak. "I'm here, Mr. Jose," I said, and my voice was loud. It was clear. It cut right through the backstage noise. "I'm so sorry I was late. I was feeling unwell. But I'm here. I'm ready to open the show." "Oh," he said, fluttering. "Oh my. Well, Kaimani was just agreeing to step in for you, to sing the opening number. So brave of her." "No," I said, looking right at Kaimani. "That won't be necessary. I'm here. I'll sing." Kaimani found her voice. She plastered on her smile. It was a horrible, tight, brittle thing. "Tanya. Oh my God, you made it. We were so worried. You look good. But are you sure you're up for it? You ran out of rehearsal. We don't want you to be uncomfortable." "I'm not uncomfortable," I said. "I'm ready. But your song," Mr. Jose said, shuffling his papers. I don't know if we... Kaimani, did you?" "Actually," I said, cutting him off. "There's been a change of plans. I'm not singing 'I Will Always Love You' anymore." Kaimani's eyes narrowed. "What?" "Tanya, you can't. All the lighting cues, the track." "I'm singing your song," I said. The silence that fell around us was total. Mr. Jose looked at me. Kaimani looked at me. The sound guy looked at me. What did you say?" Kaimani whispered. "I'm singing Unstoppable. For the opening. Now." You can't," she stammered. That's my song. That's the finale. It's all set up. You don't even know it. I know it, I said. It's my favorite song. It was a lie. I hated the song, but it didn't matter. And it's a much better opener. Don't you think? Something to really get everyone quiet, like you said. Something soulful. You want me to be unforgettable? This is it. I was using her own words against her. I could see the panic rising in her eyes. This wasn't the plan. This wasn't the joke. You're crazy, she hissed, her smile gone completely. Mr. Jose, she's delirious. She's sick. She should go home. Mr. Jose, I said, turning to him, and I let my voice be strong and calm. Kaimani told me you wanted a powerful opener. Her finale song is the most powerful song in the show. I'm here. I can sing it. And she can sing my song for the finale. The classic one. I'm sure she'd do it beautifully. I had her. And she knew it. I had just offered her a trade, in front of everyone. Her big, flashy, star-making finale for my quiet, pathetic little song. To refuse would be to admit she was the coward. To refuse would be to admit her song was all she had. Or, I continued, I can go on and sing my original song. I will always love you. Is that what you want, Kaimani? You want me to sing that one? I gave her the choice. Stick to her joke, and I would somehow find a way to survive it. Or, let me take her song. She was trapped. Mr. Jose, Kaimani said, her voice tight with fury. She's trying to ruin the show. She's right, Kaimani, a new voice said. It was Leon. He was one of the tech guys. He was holding a small USB stick. He wouldn't look at Kaimani. He just looked at Mr. Jose. It's a better opener, sir. It's high energy. I will always love you is kinda slow to start. Kaimani looked at Leon like he had just stabbed her. Leon! And it's all ready to go, Leon said, holding up the USB. This is your track, right, Kaimani? Unstoppable. It's already queued up. I can just hit play. He was giving me the gun. He was handing it to me. Mr. Jose was sweating. He looked at Kaimani, then at me. On stage, he could hear the first act, a terrible magic act, finishing up. He was out of time. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. Fine. Fine. Tanya, you're sure? I'm sure, I said. Kaimani. Kaimani's face was white. She was vibrating with rage. She looked at me, and if a look could kill, I would have been dead on the floor. Fine, she spat. Let her go out there and make a fool of herself. It's her funeral. Great, I said, with a smile that felt sharp. Thank you, Kaimani, for being so supportive. You're on now, Mr. Jose hissed, pushing me toward the curtain. Go, go. Kaimani stood there, her arms crossed, her silver dress glittering. She looked furious, and she looked, for the first time, small. I stood in the wings. I could hear the scattered applause for the magician. Then, Mr. Jose's voice booming over the speakers. And now, a very, very special opening to our show. A last-minute change that I know you're going to love. Please put your hands together for Tanya Hilton. I heard a titter, a murmur in the crowd. I saw Kaimani's friends, Lisa and Michelle, in the front row. They were looking at each other, confused. This wasn't the plan. Then, they saw Kaimani, still fuming in the wings. And they started to laugh. They thought this was the new joke. That I was going to try to sing this big, fast song and fail. The whispers started. Here we go. I heard someone say, this is going to be good. The stage was dark. I took a breath. I put my left foot on the stage. Then I pulled up my right. I started to walk. Thud tap. The spotlight found me. It was blinding. Thud tap. I heard the first laugh. A sharp snicker from the front row. It was Lisa. Thud tap. The whispers were getting louder. I could hear them. It's her. Look at her. Thud tap. I was in the center of the stage. At the microphone. My heart was a drum. My hands were slick with sweat. I could see 500 faces. All shadows, all watching me. Waiting. Waiting for the turtle. Waiting for the joke. I looked out, past the lights, to where I knew Kaimani was watching from the wings. I closed my eyes. The music started. Not the slow, sad piano I had practiced, but a driving, electronic beat. The intro to her song. It was loud. It was fast. The crowd was confused. This wasn't the slow song for the crippled girl. I took the microphone off the stand. I held it in my hand. The beat built. And then the first verse. I opened my mouth. And for the first time, in front of anyone ever, I sang. My heart was a live thing, a bird trapped in my ribs, beating itself to death. The electronic beat of Unstoppable filled the auditorium, a song that was all confidence and swagger. A song that was a lie. It was Kaimani's song. I saw the front row. Lisa and Michelle. They were smiling, waiting. They were nudging each other. I could see their shoulders shaking with silent, preemptive laughter. They were ready for the joke. The whole school was waiting for the crippled girl to try and sing a pop anthem. The first line came. I opened my mouth. I'll put my armor on, show you how strong I am. The voice that came out wasn't mine. It was thin. It was breathy. It was weak. I saw Kaimani in the wings. A slow, triumphant smile spread across her face. Her friends in the front row looked at each other, their eyes wide with glee. This was the joke. It was even better than they'd planned. I wasn't just going to be pathetic. I was going to be bad. I sang the next line, just as weak. I'll put my armor on, I'll show you that I am. I was faking it. I was singing exactly like her. I was doing a perfect imitation of Kaimani's own thin, breathy pop star voice. She knew it. Her smile faltered. Confusion flickered in her eyes. What was I doing? This wasn't part of the plan. I kept singing, mimicking her. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. The crowd was confused. They were murmuring. This wasn't a good performance. It wasn't a terrible performance. It was just weak. It was Kaimani's voice coming out of my mouth. And then the pre-chorus, the part where the music builds. I kept mimicking her, getting weaker, more breathless. I was deliberately, painfully mediocre. Kaimani was starting to look angry. I was mocking her. I was stealing her song and showing everyone how small it was. And then the chorus hit. The music swelled. The drum kicked in. I took a breath. And I let go. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. The sound that came out of my mouth wasn't me. It was the furious angel. It was my mother's rage. It was every laugh, every whisper, every thud, tap I had ever endured. It was a sound so big, so powerful, so full of soul and fire and raw, screaming pain, that it didn't just fill the auditorium. It shook it. The microphone popped. I heard a shriek of feedback. I didn't care. I just sang. The silence was total. It wasn't just quiet. It was a void, a vacuum. Every whisper, every snicker, every breath in the entire 500-seat room just stopped. I looked at the front row. Lisa's mouth was open. The smile was gone, frozen in a rictus of shock. Michelle had physically recoiled, her hands half raised. They weren't laughing. They weren't even breathing. They were just staring. I looked into the wings. Kaimani! Oh, Kaimani! She was as white as her silver dress. Her hands were at her throat. She was staring at me, not with rage, not with triumph, but with pure, unadulterated horror. She hadn't known. She had set her perfect trap. She had planned her joke of the year. And she had never, not once, bothered to find out if the victim could actually sing. She had been so blinded by my leg, so focused on my walk, she had never, ever truly listened. She thought her joke was that the crippled girl would try to sing. The real joke, the one that was dawning on her in front of everyone, was that the crippled girl could sing better than her. 1,000 times better. The song was still playing. The beat was thumping. I wasn't just standing there anymore. I wasn't the girl clutching the mic stand. I owned this. The music was inside me. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries to play. I wasn't stiff. I wasn't scared. I held the mic in my hand, and I took a step. A real step. Thud tap. Right toward the edge of the stage. Right toward them. And I sang at them. I sang at Lisa and Michelle and every single person who had ever looked at my leg before they looked at my face. The fear was gone. It had been burned away by the voice. I wasn't limping Tanya. I was me. And my voice was a weapon. The second chorus came. I did it again. But this time I added a run. A long, soulful, complicated run that I had only ever done in my bedroom, singing into a hairbrush. It was effortless. It poured out of me. I heard a sound. A single sound from the audience. Someone in the middle, a teacher, maybe gasped. A loud, audible gasp. And then another. People were leaning forward in their seats. They were looking at each other. They were looking at me like they had never seen me before. Because they hadn't. I saw Leon at the tech booth. He was smiling. A huge, watery, triumphant smile. He gave me a tiny fist pump. I looked back at Kaimani. She was shaking her head. A tiny, no. She was realizing what I had done. I hadn't just survived her trap. I had stolen her crown. This was her song. This was her finale. This was supposed to be her moment. And I was destroying it. I was showing everyone in that room what real talent sounded like. And in doing so, I was showing them what hers wasn't. The song reached the bridge. The quiet part. The part before the final, massive note. The music dropped. It was just a soft synth. I brought the mic close. I didn't whisper. I sang, my voice low, but rich, and full of a pain that they had all caused. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. I let the words hang there. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. And then, the final chorus. The build. The moment everyone waits for. The big note. The music swelled, louder and louder. I took a breath. I looked right at Kaimani. I saw the tears in her eyes. Tears of rage. Tears of humiliation. I sang the final line. I'm unstoppable. 2. Day away. I hit the note. And I didn't just hit it. I held it. And I pushed it. I pushed it higher. I put every bit of my soul, my anger, my hurt, my life into that one sound. It was a scream. It was a prayer. It was a declaration of war. It was the sound of a girl who had been buried, climbing right out of her own grave. I held it. For 5 seconds. 10 seconds. The band and the track was done. The music had faded. It was just my voice. A cappella. Filling the entire, vast, silent auditorium. When I finally let it go, the silence that followed was different. It wasn't shock. It wasn't confusion. It was holy. It was the sound of 500 people, all holding their breath at the exact same time. It was the moment from the title. The girl who was asked to sing as a joke had just left the entire room speechless. No one moved. No one clapped. They just stared. Mr. Jose was standing by the curtain, his clipboard on the floor, his hand over his mouth. My mother. I found her. In the back. She was standing up. Her hands were at her chest, and the tears were streaming down her face. But she was smiling. The proudest, fiercest smile I had ever seen. I stood there, breathing hard into the microphone. My whole body was thrumming, vibrating with leftover adrenaline. Then, from the back, a single person started to clap. Slowly. Then another. And then, it was like a dam broke. The entire room erupted. It wasn't just applause. It was a roar. It was a standing ovation. People were on their feet. They were whistling. They were screaming. They were screaming for me. I looked at the front row. Lisa and Michelle were on their feet, clapping. They looked terrified. They were clapping because they had no other choice. To not clap would be to admit it. They were clapping to save themselves. I looked into the wings. Kaimani was gone. She had run. She couldn't stand there. She couldn't take it. The person who had set the trap, the person who was waiting for me to run, she was the one who ran. The applause just kept coming. It washed over me. It was the most beautiful sound I had ever heard. I put the microphone back on the stand. I looked at the audience, at all the faces, looking at me with awe. Thank you, I whispered into the mic. The applause somehow got louder. I turned, and I walked off the stage. Thud tap, thud tap, thud tap. Every step was a victory. Every step was a final, crushing blow. The sound of my walk wasn't weakness anymore. It was the sound of justice. It was the sound of the girl who had been unstoppable. I reached the curtain, and as I stepped through, I saw Leon. He was crying, just like my mom. Tanya, he breathed. That was... I didn't let him finish. I walked right past him. I walked down the hall, away from the noise, away from the stage. I found the backstage door I'd come in through. I pushed it open, and I stepped out into the cool night air. And for the first time in my entire life, I felt like I could breathe. I stood there, in the cool darkness, my back against the brick wall of the school. My lungs burned. My hands were still shaking. The roar of the crowd inside was a physical thing, a wave of sound that I could feel through the wall. And then the door burst open. It was my mother. She didn't say anything. She just grabbed me. Her arms wrapped around me, so tight I thought my ribs would crack. She was sobbing. Not sad sobs, but the same kind of loud, gut-wrenching sobs I'd had in the bathroom stall. But they were sobs of joy, of release. "You did it," she whispered into my hair, her voice broken. "You did it, my baby. My furious angel. You." She couldn't even finish. "I did it, Mama," I whispered back, holding on to her. "I did it. I've never." A new voice stammered. We turned. Mr. Jose was standing in the doorway, his face pale, his glasses crooked. He looked undone. "Tanya," he said, his voice full of awe. In my entire career, I have never heard anything like that. Ever. My goodness, child. The power. Before I could answer, Leon ran out. He stopped a few feet away, his chest heaving. They're still clapping, Tanya. They won't stop. Mr. Jose, the next act is, they're refusing to go on. No one can follow that. What about Kaimani? I asked. My voice was just a rasp now. Leon's face hardened. She's gone. She ran. Right out the front door. Lisa and Michelle, they're just sitting in their seats. They look sick. Mr. Jose, Leon said, turning to him, and he pulled his phone out. You need to see this. This is why Tanya was late. This is what Kaimani did. And right there, in the alley, under the one flickering security light, he showed Mr. Jose the screenshots. He showed him the perfect trap. He showed him pathetic. He showed him the elephant and the turtle. He showed him thud tap, rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing. I watched Mr. Jose's face turn from awe to confusion, to a deep, dark, cold fury that scared me more than Kaimani's had. She planned this, he whispered. This was a joke. He looked at me, his eyes full of a new, terrible understanding. She asked you to sing that slow, sad song, knowing, and you came here knowing, and you sang that. He didn't know what to do. He just looked broken. I have to go. He turned and walked back inside, not like a teacher, but like an old, tired man. The rest of the night was a blur. My mother drove me home. We didn't talk. We just sat in the silence, the sound of the engine humming. When we got inside, she made me tea with honey. Your voice, she said, her hands cupping her own mug. I know, Mama. It hurts. No, she said, looking at me. Your voice. It's a gift from God, Tanya. I always knew it. But tonight, the world knew it. The next day at school was different. When I walked into the main hall, I could feel it. I walked. Thud tap. Thud tap. But the whispers stopped. Not just the mean whispers. All the whispers. People, they just parted. They made a path for me. And they smiled. Not pitying smiles. Not secret smiles. But real, awestruck smiles. That's her, I heard a girl whisper to her friend. That's the one. I was there, the friend whispered back. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. I had become a legend. Overnight, I saw Lisa and Michelle at their usual spot by the window. They saw me. They looked down. Quickly. They looked ashamed. They looked terrified. They didn't come near me. And then I saw Kaimani. She was at her locker. She wasn't wearing her usual bright, perfect clothes. She was in a simple black shirt. Her hair was pulled back. She looked dull. And she was alone. Her entire orbit, her friends, the boys who were always hanging around, they were all gone. She was just a girl at a locker. She must have felt me looking. She turned. Our eyes met across the hall. Her face was blotchy, and her eyes were red. She had been crying. All night. She looked at me with this mix of pure hatred, and in something else. Something I'd never seen in her. Defeat. She knew it was over. Just then, the principal's voice came over the loudspeaker. Kaimani Martin, please report to my office. Immediately. Mr. Jose had shown him the screenshots. Kaimani flinched, like she'd been hit. She didn't look at me again. She just grabbed her bag, her head down, and walked toward the office. She was suspended for 2 weeks. She was stripped of her prefect status. She was kicked out of the choir. She was just gone. Her social world, the one she had built by being the sun, it had collapsed in on itself. Like a dying star. But my story, it was just beginning. Someone, somewhere in that audience, had been filming. Not a shaky, terrible video. A good one. From the middle of the crowd. They had captured everything. They had captured my walk. Thud tap. They had captured the snickers from the front row. They had captured my thin, weak, Kaimani mimicking voice. And they had captured the explosion. The note. The silence. And the roar. The video went online that night. Disabled Jamaican girl was asked to sing as a joke, but her voice left the room speechless. It had 10,000 views by morning. It had 100,000 by the time Kaimani was called to the principal's office. By the end of the week, it had 5 million. My face, my voice, my walk. It was everywhere. But the video wasn't the whole story. Leon, in his final act of courage, he had anonymously sent the screenshots of Kaimani's plan to the blog that first posted the video. And the story exploded. It wasn't just girl sings good. It was girl triumphs over cruel bully. It was the perfect trap that had caught the hunter. My mother's phone, it didn't stop ringing. News stations, radio stations, and a record label. A small, independent label in Kingston, run by a man who had worked with legends. He didn't call the house. He came to the house. He sat on our sofa, the one with the springs going, and he looked at me. I've heard a lot of voices, Miss Hilton, he'd said, his voice quiet. But I've never heard a soul like that. I don't care about the video. I don't care about the story. I care about that sound. I want to put that sound on a record. So that's the story. The story of that night. That silence. My name is Tanya Hilton. And I'm a singer now. A professional one. My mother, she doesn't clean houses anymore. She travels with me. She tells the sound guys when my mic isn't hot enough. My leg. It's still my leg. It still aches when it rains. It's still the first thing people notice when I walk onto a stage. Thud tap. Thud tap. It's the rhythm track to my life. But people don't laugh anymore. They don't whisper. They just get quiet. They listen. They wait for the angel. Kaimani. I don't know what happened to her. I heard she went to university overseas. I really do. I hope she learned to listen. I hope she learned to see people. All of them. She was so obsessed with the box she wanted to put me in, she never realized I was the one holding the key. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I really hope it found you, wherever you are. This whole journey, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. But it taught me something. It taught me that the things people see as your weakness, the things they try to use to break you, they aren't. They're just the camouflage for your greatest strength. What did you feel in that moment when the music swelled? When that first note hit? I read all the comments, and I'd love to know what was going through your mind. If this story, if it meant something to you, please, I'd be so grateful if you'd hit that like button and maybe subscribe to the channel. Because the story of what happened after that record producer sat on my couch, the story of my first album, well, that's a whole other story for another time. Take care of yourselves. Be kind. And listen. Really, truly listen. You never know when you're in the presence of an angel.